It is not a coincidence that creative people tend to struggle with things like anxiety because both of them require processing deep thoughts and imagination. Before my mindfulness journey, I struggled with anxiety and creativity. I would go months on end without creating anything because I allowed my thoughts to control me instead of me controlling my thoughts. I believe my mind had the power. So whenever I would think of creating something and my mind would immediately go to, yeah, it's not going to come out right. You're not really in the mood to create. I believed it and I didn't create. And it wasn't until I had that huge surplus of inspiration that I would actually pick up a paintbrush or a crochet hook or whatever else I desired to create. I remember back in 2020 when I first started my art business, Elle and I'm, I just was on a high. I had so much inspiration built up inside of me that I knew that this was going to be it. I was going to be a full-time artist. I'm going to start this off as a side job, as a side gig, and I was going to build it up to the top. But from the day that I started my business to 2023, I would give it my all a few months out of the year and give up because I was constantly overthinking, having these deep thoughts of what I thought my business should be. And if my thoughts didn't match my reality, that means I failed. So I would go on these long breaks of being discouraged, of telling myself, oh my gosh, my business isn't making it. It's not doing what I want it to do. Constantly searching the internet of all these amazing people who are blowing up with just a few videos. In my eyes, looking at it, it just seems like they were blowing up overnight. And it discouraged me because I was overthinking it. I wasn't moving off of my joy in the present, but I was allowing my thoughts to tell me that I wasn't good enough. I am not blowing up like the next person is. I probably will never be a full-time artist. And I would go through these cycles every year from 2020 where I would give it my all, then give up, give it my all and give up. And it wasn't until 2024 when I started my mindfulness journey and everything completely changed for me. I read the book, The Power of Now, and I will admit when I first started that book, I was a little skeptical because I honestly thought it was just going to be another crazy person that's trying to reel you in. But once I started reading the book, I started to realize that he really put forth the fact that we have all the power and we simply just have to practice our mindfulness journey and being present because at the end of the day, the past already happened. The future has not happened. The only thing that is real is the present right now. Anybody can say, duh, like be present. The future isn't real. The past already happened. So what are you worried for? It's so much easier said than done, especially when you struggle with things like anxiety. It sounds good, like duh. Being present sounds great. You don't want to be daydreaming of the future 24/7. You're missing your present. And then if you're missing your present, you won't even have a past to think of if you're not even present right now. That's why the biggest memories that we have from our past is when we were fully present in the moment. You can't think of a memory of you thinking. And when I started this journey, I gave it my all. I told myself, I'm not just going to read this book and believe the words. I'm going to practice it. So I set out on a journey to be mindful. And I started with my morning meditations. I would wake up in the morning and I would do a 30-minute walk in nature because nature is very grounding for me and it's very calming. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about when you go out into nature and it's not that many people around, especially early in the morning. You just hear the beautiful birds chirping. You just hear the wind blowing the trees and the leaves. It is very calming. So I did that every morning, 30 minutes every morning. I would come home after my walk and make a tea and I would sip it while I journaled, mindful journaling. And what this journaling was is I was just like putting everything on my mind on paper. Anything that I was struggling with that I was just having too much thoughts on, I would do. And then I would end it with a 5 to 10 minute meditation. And I continued to do this every day. And give or take, some days I would just do one practice and not all three. Because let's be real, like I still have a schedule and sometimes I am not on time to a T. You know, I still have a job. So I would do that, but I would also incorporate mindfulness throughout my day. Every morning when I would drive to work on the days that I had to work, I would be 100% present. I would pay attention to what I could hear, what I could see, what I could feel. Can I feel my body? How hard am I gripping this steering wheel? And I try to relax it. I would turn the music off. I wouldn't listen to music on my ride to work. And I would just like pay attention to the cars passing by. What am I seeing as I'm driving by? I've never been great with directions until I started my mindfulness journey. Now I'm paying attention like, oh, that's where that McDonald's is on the corner. Oh, that's where the Zaxby's is. You get what I'm saying? So I would be very present. And then even at work, whenever I feel myself getting so bored, like, oh, I just want to go home, getting antsy, I'll be like, no, let's be present right now. Let's take a deep breath. I will always do 3 deep breaths whenever I would get anxious or stressed, and just do a sigh release. And I would do that. And then I would just close my eyes and try to clear my mind and be present. And I would be focused on my work. And time would just like kind of go by because I wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't thinking, oh, I can't wait to do this when I get off, or I can't wait to do that when I get off. Oh, I wish I didn't have to be here. All of my thoughts, I would just redirect back to the present. And I went from going on these long creative blocks to creating, not caring what I created, because I realized that my creative blocks were nothing more than my thoughts, my mind having these, over processing these thoughts that weren't even important. And I was believing those thoughts that came to me. So instead of worrying about, will this painting turn out well? If I start this crochet project, will I actually wear it when it's done? Forget all of that and just create. I was so present in the moment, and I realized how much I enjoyed the process of creating, not just the aftermath. And that is why a lot of us get stuck, because we start off as kids creating for the process because it's fun, not thinking about what will it look like. We created because we loved and enjoyed the actual process, being present in the moment. And as we get older and people start telling us, oh, wow, your art is amazing. Like, you should do that for a living. Oh, can you draw me this? Now we're telling ourselves, okay, this is amazing art that I made. Every single art that I make from here on out has to be just as good or better. And now we're overthinking every time we pick up that pen or pencil or paintbrush or crochet hook or whatever. We're just constantly overthinking our process instead of just being present and enjoying the process. And that is how mindfulness transform my creativity, because I am present now. So there is no art block. As soon as I decide that I want to create, I am not thinking about if it will turn out nice, because that's irrelevant. I want to create because I love creating. Whether it turns out nice or not is irrelevant, because even if it turns out bad, that just gets me one step closer to the thing that's going to be a masterpiece. And when that masterpiece comes, then it goes. Then I'm on to the next thing I'm creating, and the cycle continues. Same thing happens for my anxiety. I really truly struggle with these make-believe what if scenarios in my head. I would constantly overthink everything. It got so bad to the point that last year, before my mindfulness journey, I had anxiety so bad that I couldn't go a day without fearing something bad would happen to a loved one or myself. Like, every time my husband would leave my house, I would constantly think, oh my gosh, what if he doesn't come back? I'm worried about him. I need to check on him. Is he okay? And it would get so obsessive, and it almost felt like it was real, like it was really happening to me. But my mindfulness journey also helped with that, because I'm not having those thoughts anymore, because I'm so present in the moment. I realized that life is nothing more than for us to live. And we can't live life if we're constantly fearing or thinking of these what if scenarios in our heads, or thinking about the past and the future, but being present and enjoying right now, what it is right now, and not having judgment for whatever comes. Because the thing is, things are going to happen. There's going to be good things that happen to you that make you happy. And then there are going to be some things that make you sad. But either way, it's still life. And the only thing we can do is be present and observe and live it. So if you are creative and you're struggling with anxiety or creative block, I truly think that mindfulness will help you get you one step closer to unlocking your full creative potential. And the best way to start is baby steps, because mindfulness is nothing more than a muscle. You can't just like jump straight into it and clear your mind the whole day and think everything's going to be peachy and cream. You have to build on it, especially knowing all the things that you've been through, how much you are on your phone with technology, how much you are overthinking. It is a process. But the first thing to do is to observe those thoughts. Observe everything that comes and goes without judgment. Don't judge yourself. If it's negative, let it come. And observe yourself as those thoughts come. And you notice they come and they go. Once you start observing your thoughts and paying attention to them, you'll start to realize how silly they can be at times. And you won't have this like thing over you anymore where your mind is controlling you. You'll realize like your mind is just on a radio station, and whatever the heck is coming up is going to come up, and you're just laughing like, okay, whatever. Sometimes it's going to be some crazy stuff like, why would you think of that? And other things are going to be like, wow, that's a good idea to create. And I want you to just like focus on that and observe it. And as you go on, I want you to build a mindfulness practice in your daily life. I love to start off in the mornings because the morning time, you know what they say, early in the morning is the best time to like set your intentions for the rest of the day. When you wake up and have a great morning, more than likely the end of your day is also going to continue to be good as well. So I like to do mindful meditative mornings. And what I do is I wake up and you can go on a 30-minute walk. You can do a journal entry that is mindful, just getting everything out, and finish it off with a meditation. It doesn't have to be a long meditation. You can do simple 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I just want you to focus on clearing your mind. And when thoughts come up, let them come. Don't judge them. Accept them. Tell your mind it's okay. You can do whatever you want. And you'll realize with simply saying that, your thoughts are already not as like chaotic as they once were. And just meditate, okay? I want you to have a daily routine of this. And every time you remember, because the thing is you have to build the memory, or not the memory, but you have to build the practice of being present. Sometimes you will get so far in your thoughts that you don't even realize that you're not present in the moment, and it's hard to pull back out of it. So we need to start off small by doing purposeful morning rituals of you just being mindful. And if you catch yourself throughout the day and you catch yourself in your thoughts, I want you to stop it. Try to come back to center. Try to come back to present. Look what's around you. One of the things that I love to do during my meditations is do 3 deep breaths. And then I always like to ask myself, what can I hear? And I will quiet my mind and listen for whatever I can hear. And usually in the morning it's birds, and I'm hearing like the AC running or the refrigerator running. I'm hearing like the background noises. And I love to also ask myself, can you hear the silence? Because at the end of the day, you can't hear silence. Silence is nothing. There is always something, even when you think it's quiet. So I want you to pay attention to what you can hear. And then I want you to ask yourself, what can you feel? And see if you can feel your hands, feel your feet, feel your head, feel your body. See if you can feel it. Usually you'll start to feel tingles in your hands when you focus on feeling your hands. And not like physically feeling, but like in your mind, close your eyes, like, can I feel my hands? And you'll feel them tingle. And repeat this practice daily, even with creativity. I want you to get a notebook. Get a freaking crappy notebook if you're an artist that like sketches or paints, or whatever you do. If you're a writer, get a crap notebook that you can write in. And I want you to write something with no judgment. I want you to paint something, draw something, create something with no judgment. Let that be your judgment book. And what I want you to do is to create whatever comes to your mind, no judgment. I don't want you to sit there and judge it at all. Don't call it ugly. Don't call it beautiful. Just create. Dump out everything. And while you are creating, I want you to be 100% present while you are doing it. Be present. Don't think of the aftermath of if it will look good or not. Just do it. Create. And build that. Build that muscle of mindfulness. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is Elle. I'm an eclectic artist and I am a creative coach here to help you unlock creativity through mindfulness. If you found this video was helpful in any way, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And if you are new, please subscribe for more content from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.